When a freshly plucked jasmine flower drops next to a block of wet clay, something quiet happens. Over time, the clay absorbs the fragrance, permanently taking on a scent that was never its own. We tend to think of human character as a fixed substance. We believe we are independent, autonomous architects of our own minds. But the ancient scholar Chanakya observed a different reality. Our minds are highly permeable, constantly absorbing and being rewritten by the environment we place them in. He called this phenomenon satsanga, the continuous and visible gravity of good company. It is a nurturing force that shapes us without us ever noticing. In the Chanakya Niti, he offers a vivid analogy. He points out that fish, tortoises, and birds nurture their young differently, through sight, through careful attention, and through physical touch. Noble companions operate the same way. Their mere presence, their example, and their subtle care quietly elevate our potential, day by day. True independence, in this sense, is an illusion. We are the ecological product of the minds we allow near us. But this law of permeability works both ways. If virtue is contagious, toxicity is a plague. This is the realm of dusanga, bad company. Dusanga rarely announces itself with a drawn sword. The real danger does not come from an obvious enemy. It comes from the flatterer who feeds your ego, the fool who wastes your time, and the friend who quietly resents your success. Chanakya noted the psychology of this dynamic. He wrote that a wicked person burns with the fire of jealousy. Unable to rise through their own merit, they resort to deriding and diminishing those around them, dragging everyone else down to their level just to feel equal. Inviting these individuals into your inner circle is a passive form of self-destruction. You are willingly letting the clay sit next to a toxic root. 2,000 years ago, this philosophy was put to a ruthless practical test. The setting was Pataliputra, the bustling, high-stakes capital of the Mauryan Empire. At the center of this staggering physical wealth stood Emperor Chandragupta Maurya. As a young ruler sitting atop immense military and economic power, he was the ultimate target for opportunistic courtiers seeking to siphon off a piece of the throne's influence. Standing between the emperor and this swarm of ambition was Chanakya, his chief minister and mentor. Chanakya took on the role of an absolute, unforgiving gatekeeper. For Chanakya, curating the king's companions had nothing to do with royal etiquette. Allowing a weak, greedy, or envious advisor into the king's presence breached strict national security. He enforced a clear operational rule. Before a leader can effectively govern a massive kingdom, they must first ruthlessly govern their own social proximity. Proof of this ancient statecraft survives in the Arthaśāstra, detailing a systematic psychological crucible to vet potential ministers. First came the monetary allurement. Spies would approach candidates with untraceable wealth, offering a fortune to betray a state secret. Then came the test of fear. Agents disguised as revered ascetics would corner a minister, threatening them with severe consequences to gauge their courage and ideological purity under extreme pressure. Chanakya even deployed spies within the royal harem, orchestrating elaborate scenarios of seduction to map out a minister's hidden desires and locate any psychological leverage an enemy might exploit. Only the rare individuals who walked through all 4 of these hidden traps without faltering were finally granted the privilege of advising the emperor. Chanakya effectively weaponized paranoia. By engineering a flawless, highly vetted inner circle, he made the emperor completely immune to the slow, invisible poison of bad influence. But Chanakya understood that if you can defend an empire by curating good company, you can destroy an enemy by injecting bad company. He turned his attention to a looming threat, a massive invading coalition led by the rival king Malayakētu and his brilliant minister Rakshasa. The classical play Mudra Rakshasa documents Chanakya's tactical masterpiece. He decided to defeat Malayakētu's massive army without deploying a single soldier. Instead of battalions, Chanakya sent spies, planted a forged letter, and whispered calculated rumors into the ears of key generals. He drove a psychological wedge directly into the enemy's leadership. Malayakētu's most trusted allies suddenly looked like suspected traitors. Toxic suspicion bled through the camp, turning lifelong friends into paranoid rivals. The result was total devastation. The enemy's massive coalition collapsed entirely from the inside, eaten alive by internal paranoia before a single arrow was drawn. The military reality was absolute. Destroying an adversary's trusted relationships is exponentially more devastating than confronting their army on an open battlefield. The architect of this empire remained in the shadows, silently watching the civilization he had engineered. He had secured his young emperor, insulating him in a curated garden of vetted, wise, and noble scholars. The throne was safe. The inescapable invisible law of Chanakya Niti remains true for anyone, emperor or citizen. Character is contagious. Every companion you keep is quietly, inevitably shaping your future self. If the people around you are actively forging your ultimate destiny, how carefully should you choose your friends?